All right, look, when things go completely to hell, people look for someone to blame. That's just human nature, right? For almost 300 years in Indonesia, that someone has been the Chinese, over and over again. But here's the thing that really messed with my head when I started looking into this. This isn't random. This is the same playbook, just recycled, century after century. So, picture this. It's 1740. Jakarta is called Batavia. The Dutch East India Company is basically running the place like its personal ATM. People are starving, disease is everywhere, and everyone's on edge. Then boom, October. The whole city just explodes. Historians say somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 Chinese residents were slaughtered in a couple of weeks. The survivors? The Dutch literally walled them into a district they designated as Glodok, the city's first Chinatown. But here's the part that should really freak you out. The Dutch didn't just react to this violence. They had paperwork. They had military plans. They had relocation orders ready to go. Skeptical tone. I mean, who just has ethnic cleansing paperwork lying around? That kind of bureaucratic efficiency doesn't happen by accident. And wouldn't you know it? The very next year, 1741, the violence spreads to Semarang, then to Cirebon, then Surabaya. It's like watching the same horror movie play in different theaters. Every time, the same sequence. Economic stress starts brewing, rumors start flying, mobs erupt, and Chinese communities get destroyed. At first, you might think, okay, maybe it's just a terrible coincidence. But when the exact same coincidence happens across multiple cities and decades, that's not a coincidence anymore. See, the Dutch weren't just running a colony, they were social engineering. They split everyone into 3 boxes. Europeans on top, indigenous Indonesians on the bottom, and Chinese people stuck in this weird middle category they called foreign Orientals. Sounds bureaucratic, right? But think about what that actually meant. You needed special passes just to travel, special licenses to do business. You could only live in certain neighborhoods, and you had to constantly register with the state. Basically, they turned Chinese Indonesians into the most visible, most trackable minority in the whole country. And when you're the most visible group during a crisis, you become the easiest target. Now, fast forward to May 1998. And man, Indonesia is a complete mess. The economy just got absolutely obliterated by the Asian financial crisis. The rupiah lost 80% of its value in a few months. Suharto, who'd been running the country for 32 years, is finally losing his grip. Students and soldiers are literally fighting in the streets. And then, Jakarta just burns. The numbers are staggering. Over 1,000 people were killed. More than 1,000 women were sexually assaulted, and at least 40 major shopping centers and 5,000 smaller businesses were destroyed. The overwhelming majority of them, Chinese-owned. Human Rights Watch was there. They documented how mobs hit malls and banks with what looked like surgical precision. Some witnesses even reported seeing men with walkie-talkies directing the crowds. That's not random rage. That looks like a shopping list. Now, whenever I bring this up, someone always comes in with the lazy answer. Oh, it's just jealousy. Chinese people are rich, so obviously they're hated. Okay, let's unpack that, because it's honestly kind of insulting to everyone involved. First off, most Chinese Indonesians were not tycoons. Yeah, A handful of families controlled massive conglomerates, but the majority were just small shopkeepers, clerks, and middle-class families trying to get by. Treating them all like they lived in mansions is just lazy propaganda. And more importantly, jealousy doesn't organize mass killings. Jealousy doesn't explain why security forces vanished from key neighborhoods just as the looting began. Jealousy doesn't explain how coordinated rumors spread across an entire city in a matter of hours. If this was just about resenting wealth, why weren't rich indigenous families or foreign investors attacked? The rage always lands on the same group. That tells you it's not envy, it's deliberate targeting. So here's the pattern. It's ugly, but it's clear. It's a formula. Step 1. You make a group visible. All that colonial paperwork, segregated districts, special licenses. It's a way of marking Chinese Indonesians as distinct and easily identifiable. Step 2. You put them in visible roles. Running small shops, trading rice, managing banks. So when the economy collapses, their face is the one angry crowds see when they walk by a closed storefront. Step 3. Crisis strikes. The currency tanks, food prices spike, politicians screw up. The pressure builds. Step 4. And this is the key part. Someone points the finger. Cream gangs are paid to stir up mobs. Politicians fan the flames with rumors. Sometimes, even soldiers step aside and let it happen. And suddenly, the Chinese community becomes the lightning rod for all that built-up rage. Robert Cribb, one of the top scholars on Indonesian mass violence, has shown how these steps repeat from 1740 to 1998. It's not a mystery, it's a playbook. So why does this keep happening? Because it's useful. Scapegoating Chinese Indonesians diverts rage away from corrupt leaders, broken systems, or international market forces, and redirects it onto the one group already made vulnerable. When Chinese shops burn, someone else acquires the property. When families flee, elites swoop in and buy their assets for cheap. When mobs riot, politicians use the chaos to claim emergency powers. Chinese Indonesians didn't choose to be scapegoats. The system made them the perfect shield for whoever actually caused the crisis. We spend all this time asking, why do they always blame the Chinese? But the real question we should be asking is something else entirely. Who benefits every time the blame falls on them? Who profits from the ashes of those looted businesses? Who gains power while cities burn? Who walks away clean while minorities pay the price? I'm not saying there's one mastermind pulling all the strings, but I am saying that every time Chinese Indonesians get blamed for Indonesia's problems, it's really convenient for whoever's actually responsible. Next time you see this pattern in Indonesia or anywhere else in the world, don't just ask why that one group got targeted. Ask who benefits when they do. Because once you start seeing scapegoating as a tool and not just spontaneous anger, you realize it's being used a lot more often than you thought. And that's a pretty unsettling thing to notice.